Mr. Mayor, we live?
Great, thank you for that. Today is April 19th, 2023. The time is 5 p.m. and I'm calling to order the Baldwin Park City Council special meeting. City Clerk, can I have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Estrada.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. Let the rock. Thank you. Councilmember Avila.
She won't be able to make the special meeting.
Thank you. Councilmember Ayala.
Here.
Councilmember Damian.
Here. Thank you for that, City Clerk. This moment, we'll move on with the public communications. City Clerk, is there anybody looking to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, we have not received any requests for comment.
Great. Thank you for that. So at this moment, we will move on to our open session study session, presentation project home key update, the former Motel 6 site, presented by Ron Garcia, Director of Community Development, and the rest of the LA County team. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, staff. And the LA County team have been meeting for the past several weeks, keeping us updated on the Project Home Key site, which is a former Motel 6. So their team are present to present a two-part presentation to cover an update on the development of the site, and then second, to go over specifics of building out the site. So without further ado, I'll hand the baton over to the county team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daniela Urbina, and I serve as Supervisor Solis's Housing and Homelessness Deputy. I will be brief because the dream team is behind me and it will actually give you substantive information, but I just wanted to start by thanking the City of Baldwin Park, the mayor, the council, for being so supportive of county projects and projects in general that are here to help people experiencing homelessness in our shared constituencies. For a long time, Supervisor Solis championed initiatives that would bring money to cities directly so that they could tackle homelessness within their jurisdictions. And the City of Baldwin Park is an example of why that is so important, right? The tiny homes, both for families, for single adults, are the county has provided funding to help support the services at those sites. You all have been very, very welcoming of our home key site here as well. And so on behalf of the supervisor, we want to say thank you. We want to let you know that she will continue fighting to make sure that you all have the resources that you need to tackle homelessness, and that we're just looking forward to continuing to work with you all on this Project Home Key site and on any future endeavors to tackle homelessness across the county. So thank you very much. I'll hand it over to Liz Benishai from the Homeless Initiative.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Benishai, and I'm the manager for housing and intergovernmental affairs at the LA County Homeless Initiative. And I'm so pleased to be here today to talk to you about the county's efforts on Home Key and specifically the Home Key Baldwin Park project. So I'm going to just start with an overview of the Home Key program, which is a state program, just to provide some background and context. Then I'll talk about how the county has been approaching Home Key over the past few years. We'll talk about some background for the Baldwin Park site and the plan for converting it into permanent supportive housing. So the Home Key program was created by the governor in 2020, and it's really a program meant to fund local jurisdictions to rapidly develop housing for people experiencing homelessness, both interim and permanent housing. Sort of rapid operationalization of the Home Key sites has been a hallmark of the program, and is what happened here in Baldwin Park, where shortly after the county acquired the site, it began operating as interim housing. So the county has really seized the opportunity to participate in the Home Key program to increase the availability of interim and permanent housing for people experiencing homelessness throughout the county. Home Key does provide funds from the state to local jurisdictions to acquire and develop properties, but local jurisdictions are required to provide matching funding. So the county has done that in a significant way dedicating both our CARES Act allocation and our American Rescue Plan Act allocation to be these matching funds for the home key projects, really demonstrating the supervisor's commitment to this program and to advancing homeless housing in LA County. In the first round of Home Key, the county was awarded $108 million in capital and operating funds to acquire 10 former motels. Those amounted to approximately 850 rooms, and 9 of the 10 were operating as interim housing or temporary housing initially. One became permanent supportive housing immediately, and all will become permanent supportive housing as an end state. Through a competitive solicitation process, the county identified developers who would do the conversion, the construction and renovations to turn these projects into permanent supportive housing and then operate them as permanent supportive housing. And Baldwin Park is one of the projects for which we solicited a developer. This project that we're talking about today is Home Key Round 1, but I just wanted to share a little bit about what the county has done for Home Key Round 2. For Home Key Round 2, the county applied jointly with co-applicants to the state for Home Key funds and was awarded 14 projects amounting to 720 units and $250 million in state funding. Okay, so as I mentioned, the county acquired the Baldwin Park Motel 6 in November of 2020. The property was occupied for use as interim housing very quickly after that in early 2021. The interim housing site there has been operated by Exodus Recovery and overseen by the Department of Health Services Housing for Health program. Prior to the beginning of construction to convert the project, the site will be vacated, and the provider, Exodus, and the Department of Health Services will work closely together to relocate the folks who are living there now, either to other interim housing sites or to permanent housing if they are able to identify it. We've gone through this process in 7 of the other hotels that were operating as interim housing and been able to successfully place people into other housing and ensure that nobody exits to the street. Before we begin construction, the county will be entering into a lease agreement with a community of friends, which is the chosen developer for this project. After the conversion or the construction is complete, the county will be transferring ownership of the property to ACOF. That's the general overview. I'm not sure if you want to ask questions now, or I can hand it off to the next presentation so you get the full picture. I don't know if you...
Right now may be the appropriate time to ask it, Elizabeth. When is construction? Because prior to that is when you move tenants. So tenants are still there right now?
Yeah, the participants in the interim housing program are still there. I think we're looking at a September construction start date. So we try to vacate the site about a month before construction begins. So that would be towards the end of July.
Thank you.
So I think one of the important questions is when this first opened, there was 0 Baldwin Park residents being helped by this project. So now that it's going into a later stage, can we expect some Baldwin Park residents to receive some aid from this project?
Yeah, once the site becomes permanent supportive housing, we've been speaking with staff here in Baldwin Park about utilizing vouchers from the Baldwin Park Housing Authority to support the site, and that would enable Baldwin Park to really control the referrals into the site. So, for example, I know you have the tiny home project and some other interim housing. You could have a real pathway to permanent housing from those sites to this permanent supportive housing site. So we're hopeful that we can make this partnership work with the vouchers so that Baldwin Park can really focus on serving your own constituents.
And Mayor, if I could just add a little bit to the project-based voucher. So just to be clear on the project-based voucher and us meeting with also HUD, there is a cap on the development. So the project-based voucher is capped, and the architect's going to go over the total number of units. So it would be capped at 20% of the total units. It'll be project-based vouchers. So those project-based vouchers, based on our existing Section 8 list, our housing authority consists of 5-member city. So that's how the selection process would work based on the project-based voucher. So I just wanted to be clear on that.
Is there any other alternative to project-based vouchers that we can use to lock in more of those units?
The other opportunity that we are exploring is the Section 8. So they could potentially, this could be a participant of the Section 8. Versus the project-based voucher. So we're still exploring that. That's one alternative that we're looking at.
Yeah, there are other types of subsidies available, and if Baldwin Park is not able to provide the vouchers, we would work with the county housing authority to commit vouchers to the project. There are many tenant-based voucher holders, so there are two types of vouchers through the federal government: project-based, which are attached to a specific building, so the units in a building are subsidized. Tenant-based vouchers are given to the tenant, and they identify a unit in the community with a private landlord who will accept that voucher. Tenant-based voucher holders can also be referred into project-based sites like this one. So there would be an opportunity to potentially refer tenant-based voucher holders in, but the county's committed to fully funding the operations of the site and also to doing everything we can to make sure that Baldwin Park residents are served in this project.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes.
So, for example, the residents that we have at Esperanza Villa, which is the individual tiny homes, and then the Serenity homes, which is a family, would we be able to transition them into this facility since this is going to be a permanent supportive housing?
Yeah, for the tiny home, this is for single adults, so it's not really suited for families just because of the size of the units. But for the tiny home participants, who I understand that many of them meet the criteria for permanent supportive housing, this would be a great option for them to transition out of those tiny homes into permanent housing, and then you would be able to use that tiny home for another person experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, because that's the issue that we're having right now, right, Manny, is that our goal is to keep them in the tiny home for 90 days, which we have a resident that's been there since it first opened in November of 2021? If I'm correct. So would we be able to give them priority to be able to transition from Esperanza Villa into this facility, or how would that work? How can we get our residents to get priority?
Yeah, so there are a couple options. I mean, if the vouchers are coming from the city of Baldwin Park, then you could definitely choose the prioritization that suits the city. The county has been working hard to determine how to prioritize local residents for these kinds of projects. It's something that we're working on with our county council right now to make sure that we can do it without having any fair housing law issues. But we understand that you want to serve your constituents if you're going to have a project like this in your community, and we're really committed to finding a way to make that work. So either through the city providing the project-based vouchers, or if they come from the county or another source, we are trying our best, not just for this project, but for all the projects around the county, to help prioritize local residents.
Do you know till date how many residents from Baldwin Park we've had at that facility at the Motel 6?
Yeah, Ron asked me that, but I unfortunately wasn't able to get that information yet, so I can follow up with that.
So this is our concern, as obviously, we want, our residents here in the city of Baldwin Park. We're trying to combat the homelessness issue that we have. And for us to have these tiny home sites and not be able to transition these individuals into more of a permanent housing, it's difficult. So is it absolutely necessary for us to have these residents with a voucher to get into the site, or is there another way that we can work with saying, okay, we're going to have these Esperanza individual, people that are living here be able to go into this facility without an actual voucher?
Well, they would need some kind of subsidy. Matching to a tenant-based voucher is likely a good option for many of them. The problem that we have is many tenant-based voucher holders can't find a landlord who will accept that voucher. So having a building like this that's dedicated to the population ensures that we're going to accept them. So I don't want to guarantee for sure that there'll be a direct pathway there, and the prioritization will happen if we don't go through the Baldwin Park Housing Authority. But I just want to emphasize that we have the same goal as you, and we're working on that, and think that we have a good chance of being able to get through our lawyers and be able to prioritize local residents.
So from what I'm hearing is there's no way to even say, let's just, guarantee 25% of these rooms to residents of Baldwin Park. It's just on a first come, first served basis.
It's not first come, first serve. It has been historically in the county system based on need. So people are prioritized based on an assessment that's done, and their sort of acuity level or the level of need that they have, mental health issues, physical health issues that put them at greater risk on the street, puts them at a higher place in the queue. But there may be a way to guarantee that. We're just not quite there yet. You could definitely guarantee it if the vouchers are coming from Baldwin Park. And I think that we have a good opportunity to work together. The LA County Community Development Authority is happy to provide technical assistance to the Baldwin Park Housing Authority to help make this happen with the vouchers.
Yeah, we may be similarly challenged on the tenant-based vouchers as to whether we can earmark them to a specific person. We just went through a lottery selection process, and whatever the outcome is from that. But on the project-based voucher, I don't know if we can earmark those necessarily. But we would have to go through our own legal review as to whether they can be specifically assigned to a person. But is it accurate to say, Elizabeth, that the county is prepared to start the operation of this facility fully subsidized, meaning without expectation of tenant co-payments?
Yeah, well, the way it works is the tenant is expected to pay 30% of their income. If they have no income, obviously that's zero. So it's relative to income, and then the subsidy pays the rest.
I have one more question. What is the actual criteria for an individual to come into this facility? Do they have to be clean?
No, it's a housing first project, so it's not.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question. What are the rules in this facility? Are they able to just come out of the motel location, out of the gates, cross the street to the Home Depot, to the Walmart? Are they just, in other words, is it their home and they're free to come and go as they please?
It is essentially an apartment building, but there's on-site case management, and my colleagues behind me are going to talk more about the types of services that they provide. But there's on-site case management, 24-hour security, typically in these buildings. So it's like an independent living situation with a lot of support, wraparound support. That
they're able to go in the streets, and security is going to be securing the facility 24 hours. They're not going to follow these individuals into the streets, correct?
Well, it's not like a prison or anything.
I get it. The reason why I'm asking these questions is because we have a huge transient problem right now in the city of Baldwin Park, which we're trying to address. And a lot of the people that are in our streets have mental or substance abuse issues. A lot of them, and I'm not saying that they're coming from this facility, I don't know, but a lot of these individuals are not your normal John and Juan that normally lived in the city of Baldwin Park and just fell out of their luck and ended up on the street. A lot of these individuals we've never seen before. So my question is, could it be some of these residents that are living at the Motel 6 are coming out into the street and in some cases causing havoc? There's a lot of residents that are really concerned with this. So although we as a city council want to make sure we're addressing these issues and we're giving the assistance wherever we can, we also need to make sure that we're looking out for our residents who are trying to walk down the street and enjoy a stroll with their children and not being harassed by individuals. So that is also my concern, because although there is 24-hour security there, Once they come into the street, we don't know what they're doing. And if they have a substance abuse issue or they have mental health issues, we're not monitoring them while they're on their streets. So again, it concerns me because these are not individuals that are from Baldwin Park. These are individuals that are coming from other cities all over the county of Los Angeles who are living in this facility, who are now maybe on our streets, and maybe some of these residents are the ones causing some of the issues that we're having to deal with. So that's also one of my biggest concerns. You know, we need to make sure that we don't jeopardize our community's public safety at the same time trying to assist these individuals that need the assistance, which is why I would like to see more of our Baldwin Park residents in this facility versus us opening the gates. Put it frankly, other cities need to do more. And we can't take on the burden of all the surrounding cities, right? We're trying to do what we can with what we have. But Measure H money is not coming to us the way it should be. So I would like to know, and I don't know if anybody has the answer to that, but does anyone know what we as a city are receiving in Measure H money?
Well, my colleague here, One Williams, can speak to the Measure H.
I'll
so
go ahead
he
and
can
let them finish the presentation, Mayor,
Yeah.
and then I'll ask any more questions if I have any.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Miha Risden. I'm the Director of Housing for a Community of Friends. We are the developer selected to convert the Motel 6 into permanent supportive housing and then to own and operate it afterwards. I'm joined here by Adrian Servetnik, who is the project manager for this project, as well as the architectural team, Eric Alden, and Michael Lair from Lair Architects. Okay, well, thank you for this opportunity to present some more information about a community of friends and the project that we would like to, or we're proposing at the Motel 6. We're really excited about the project. So for starters, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a community of friends. A community of friends is a nonprofit development company. We were founded in 1988. We're celebrating our 35th year anniversary this year. And we were actually started with support by the LA County Department of Mental Health. Our founding mission was always to end homelessness through the provision of quality permanent supportive housing for people experiencing with mental illness. And that's because the county saw that a lot of their clients were declining because they didn't have a home and they didn't have the support services they needed. So from the beginning, a community of friends has been serving this population and has had on-site supportive services from our founding. Since we were formed, we've completed over 2,000 units and 51 projects and serve over 2,600 adults and children in our developments. We have grown since we started, so we not only do we provide development services, we do have a property management company, we do our own asset management, and we have a services department that provides on-site case management to our tenants. And we serve a wide variety of tenant populations. We serve veterans, seniors, emancipated foster youth, as well as low-income families. I know the picture is small, so the point is just to show you sort of where our developments are located. The vast majority of our properties, our 51 properties, are in Los Angeles County, but we do have developments in Orange County, and we currently have developments in construction in Ventura County, San Bernardino County, and Riverside County. But we are really excited about this particular project. Our services director is really excited about this project. He has seen the great need for more permanent supportive housing in the San Gabriel Valley, and was really excited about of having a project in Baldwin Park. Okay, so a little bit of to step back a little bit, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about what defines permanent supportive housing. And it's basically for people who are experiencing homelessness and have a disability. And a key component of it is that, permanent supportive housing is a home. It's an apartment. All the tenants have leases, just like any person. It's independent living. It's not time limited. And as we've discussed before, tenants are responsible for paying about 30% of their income towards rent. A key difference here in permanent supportive housing is the provision of on-site services. And it's not services coordination, but it's case management services, as well as some additional wraparound services focused on helping tenants to stay stably housed and to stay healthy and to improve their economic outcomes as well. So you'll see a list of the types of services that ACOF's case management staff and services department provides in collaboration with local service providers as well as the county agencies. Okay, so wanted to talk to you a little bit about the site. I know you're very familiar with it, but this is kind of how we were looking at the site. Currently, it's a 75-room motel. There are 65 parking spaces and 7 truck parking spaces. You can see kind of on the lower left of the picture. And it's kind of like a building inside a very large parking lot. And so, as we were looking at it as a place to convert into a home for homeless families, we were taking another look at it to think about, how we can make the site feel more like a home and less like a motel, as well as improve kind of, the how it looks and how it becomes more of a part of the community. So some of the concerns that we saw when we looked at the site was that there's really no front door. Most apartment buildings, for example, have a front door, like a main entrance, somewhere to come in and have a clear front door. And it didn't really have that. The motel rooms, the vast majority of them were 200 square feet. Some of them were even smaller than that. And for us, when we're thinking about creating a permanent home for someone to live in for the long haul, that was too small. And then, as I mentioned, the sea of parking did not feel much like a regular apartment building. There's a pool in the middle of the property that creates some liability and safety and security issues for the tenants. And then we were also noting that it's by the freeway. So, it does have some additional noise and some other considerations. And so, I think for us, our focus here is to try and create a place that feels like home, that is a permanent home, and has high quality and facilitates good management. And so I think these are some of the issues that we felt like needed to be addressed in our proposed site plan. So one of the key changes that we plan to make better homes, long-term homes for the tenants, is that we have proposed to reduce the unit count to 36 units. We're combining for the most part, 2 rooms to create a 400 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment. And you can see that on the lower left. It's really important for us, from our experience, to create spaces within homes that have kind of what most people have. So we wanted to create kind of a living room area, a kitchen area, a bedroom area, and a separate and a bathroom. And so by combining the units, we're able to do that, as well as provide sufficient storage for tenants to store their things. And as I said, one of the most important things about permanent supportive housing is the delivery of on-site services and the services programming. And so you can see the architects will go over a little bit more in detail, but part of the unit count reduction is to make these spaces make the spaces that we need for the staff. So for the property management staff, for the case management staff, we're adding a conference room so tenants and case management staff and property management can meet together when needed. And then we also converted some of the units into an indoor community room for ongoing programming and social events. Because the building is already built and there's only so much space we can fit in the building, but we also wanted to have the same quality of a project and offer the same types of amenities that we do in our other supportive housing projects. We decided to convert some of the parking that is not needed into amenities for the tenants. And so we're taking the amenities outside because that's where we have the space. And again, the architects will describe it a little bit more, but you can see we're adding kind of things for fitness, spaces for tenants to gather and create community, dog runs, a wide variety of amenities for the tenants. So we wanted to share a little bit of the timeline with you. Right now, we're in the design or plan stage. Our hope is to complete the plans and submit them for plan check in July so that we can start construction in October. We expect it will take approximately 1 year to complete the work. So our hope is to complete construction by October 2024. We often start lease-up activities several months prior to opening, and then we have the goal of having the building fully occupied in December 2024. And that's our contact information if you need. I'm going to pass on the presentation to Michael, who will go over the plans in more detail.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. Hi, good evening. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here tonight. We're really excited about and have a real sense of privilege to be working on projects like this, and on this one in particular, to create places of desire in communities and to take places which have one use and then to really ennoble them to their new use is sort of really the best of what architecture and urbanism can be. The site, as you see it, is largely asphalt, and it's surrounded largely by asphalt and concrete, the freeway and the roads around it. I think in terms of the way we create a new campus here, okay, good. So here you can see we've reduced the parking about 50%. The notion of creating a village and a campus, as Mihai was saying, sort of the amenities that we offer to the folks who will live there, the community that will live there, are significant in terms of outdoor space, and really normalizes and somewhat luxurious the relationship of having your indoor private spaces and a variety of outdoor spaces. And also importantly, because as you know, these motels were designed to be seen from the freeway, right? I mean, that's the idea. You're driving by and there's a motel. So the way the campus is seen from the community and improved now and seen mainly as a building, a housing with gardens around it, is really an important part of it. And our belief is that while we think as architects that all projects should enhance their communities, we think there's a particular burden on projects like this to really add value and enhance their communities. And to normalize and destigmatize both the populations and to enrich the community. Next. So as you can see, as Mihai pointed out, and you can see it's pretty subtle. We've differentiated in two tones between white and gray to show the variety, the separate units. We began with, so you have two singleton motel units, which now become a one-bedroom unit. In yellow, you see some of the community uses. The largest rectangle there is the new community room facing both the entry on the right and the inner courtyard. So it will be visible from all the units that line the courtyard, which are about 70% of them. And then the yellow in the lower right are the various offices and supportive care units. And all the light green are basically the courtyard and the surrounding garden. The freeway is up and around the top and the sides, and the top and the right side, and you'll enter from the lower side, where we've also reduced the parking in half, so you actually have landscape and garden facing you when you enter before you come to the building. Next. And here, the second floor, again, sort of indoor, you have your units, you have your indoor courtyards, and then you have your gardens, the community garden, the exercise garden, the pathway around, so you can actually walk around the campus, and and create sort of, introduce new wholesome housing into the community. And I think, okay, thank you.
Does Michael not take questions? I use some privilege. I've known Michael a long time, so great to see you, Michael.
Good to see. Great to see you.
What became of the pool? I'm sorry, I wasn't able to see what that space has been repurposed for. The courtyard?
Mark, can we bring up the last slide to the site plan?
Landscape. Assuming. Areas.
And we're differentiating the units, like when you're looking at them from the outside, either in the courtyard or on the outside, we'll be using probably at least 2 different colors, so that, it's not just a big mass of units, but you'll say, oh, my unit is there, it's the green door over there, or there'll be a sense of location and order, and really break down the scale of sort of the monolithic motel, which it is now.
And the entrances to all of the units will be on the interior facing side from the interior courtyard.
No.
The outer perimeter will now be just windows?
No.
So on the bottom, you'll see there's where it's the building is wider. There. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Vanna. So 80% of the units open to the courtyard, and 20% open to the outside. And in terms of the units, particularly on the right, you'll see the community room on the ground floor. On the left, we're exploring the possibility of maybe having some windows on that side of the unit, opening to our garden spaces beyond, both to have eyes on it, in terms of creating what we call defensible space, and also for the possibility of cross ventilation. But almost all the units open to the courtyard.
I have a question. I don't know if it's, so you said construction is going to last about a year. Where are these residents going to go within that year? Do you guys already have a plan as to where they're going to go?
Yeah, this current service provider and the Department of Health Services will work to identify other either temporary housing or permanent housing for them. So they are not going to be the same tenants that ultimately occupy this permanent supportive housing. So they'll be moved either to another motel like this, or if they've been able to identify permanent housing, they'll be moved to permanent housing.
Perfect.
So it's a process that we've been through now 7 times with other ones around the county and been able to successfully move people.
After seeing the design, I like the way that's going to look. It's not going to look just like this motel. And I like the fact that you are going to compact the parking where it's going to be a little bit more monitored. And then the entrance where it's just going to be one entrance versus the way it is now. So that's a little bit more security for the residents that are living there. And you can monitor when they come in and out. So thank you for that. To Hilda Solis staff, thank you guys very much. I still would like to see more Baldwin Park residents occupy this facility. So if you guys could please take that back to the supervisor and just let her know that we are, trying to house as many people as possible with the resources that we have available. So again, hopefully we can get more of our Baldwin Park residents in this facility. Thank you.
I have a question. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody who presented. I really appreciate it. I appreciate, as Councilmember Damian said, the detail that you put into it. I really appreciate it. On one of your first slides, when you were explaining what permanent supportive housing is, Ms. Risden mentioned that like one of the first criteria is that they're homeless and have a disability. It didn't say and or, it said and. So I guess my question is, what constitutes a disability?
I think for us, permanent supportive, I guess it's for ACOF maybe, permanent supportive housing, the best value of it is when you match tenants appropriately with the right type of housing. And supportive housing's power is in the on-site supportive services and case management. And so, not everyone who experiences homelessness needs the same level of intensive case management services. And so, the best match is to have someone who is homeless and has some kind of disability or mental illness, or who has experienced chronic homelessness, to be matched in a home that has on-site case management, intensive case management services, right? Then you're getting the most value out of the services that are there. But, this particular property, it doesn't have that requirement that you have a disability. ACOF, the vast majority of our tenants are tenants with mental disabilities or mental illness. But for home key projects, actually, it's the requirement is homeless or chronically homeless or at risk of homelessness. Or at risk of homelessness.
So basically, the slide for our purposes is not exactly correct, right? Because they
Yeah.
don't have to have a
You
disability.
don't have to have a disability to
I understand
live
your
at this
explanation of it,
particular
and I
site.
appreciate it. I just wanted to be clear on that, because, it's the teacher in me that I'm very, noticing that. And
No,
then
it's a
I
good
just want to reiterate my colleagues in terms of we're really, focused on the more that we can get of our own residents who are experiencing that, we really want to service them. And so I know it's a county, situation, but it's something that's really important to us. And so I just want to, reiterate what their issues are as well in terms of it. Okay, so thank you.
So are we done with the presentations, just to make sure? Great. I just reiterate the same thing, especially with Measure H. I'm not gonna, being honest, I think it's a little frustrating, right? That, cities like Baldwin Park are taking an initiative to push on local efforts to house the homeless. And then, we get projects like these that don't incentivize any sort of support from the city because they're not housing or they're not guaranteeing any sort of incentive, any sort of support for Baldwin Park residents. Baldwin Park has been a city that's been chronically dealing with homeless issues for a very, very long time. When it comes to Measure H, I don't think the city receives any Measure H dollars directly. We have to go through the COG, we have to go to the Regional Housing Trust, we have to go through all these hoops. And so, it is a little frustrating when we're doing a lot of this work and we're not seeing any sort of direct support on these things. A lot of these times, a lot of these people are coming from the city of Los Angeles. City of Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken, is like the #1 receiver of Measure H dollars, even some of ours. So things like that are really frustrating, and maybe you're not at the helm of that, but it is important that you take that back to the county and people like LASA, right? LASA, I'm sure that's why we had the Blue Ribbon Committee, because people were starting to show that frustration, and that's a legitimate frustration that Councilmember Damien has shown. We've all shown it because we're doing what we have to do, and it seems that rather than get the support we need, we end up taking on, the work that other cities should be doing. So that is something that we just want to note. But I mean, it's a great project, looks really good, and we do want to make sure that we work together to see how we can maximize the services for Baldwin Park residents through it.
Yeah, I understand your frustration, and it's certainly our intention to do everything we can with this project to serve people in Baldwin Park. We're working hard on that, and I believe that we will be able to prioritize Baldwin Park residents. We're just kind of in the midst of a process of confirming that. I know that there is a major increase in the funds that are available to go directly to local jurisdictions, the Measure H funds. Some of them flow through the COG, but those are Measure H funds as well. If you want a little more description of those funds, One will jump in and share.
Thank you all. Glad to be here. Excited and actually very thrilled of the passion that you are fighting for local preference and the priority of your residents, as well as getting more Measure H funding, and hearing that other cities surrounding you need to step up. And so, again, I just want to really applaud you. I've worked with Manny and Eureka on your team. They've been fantastic. And again, acknowledge the work that you are doing and that you will continue to do. In regards to the Blue Ribbon Commission, the new framework on homelessness, what we've done, we've been responsive. The county, thanks to the Board of Supervisors, has allowed us to increase, identify, earmark, and establish the Local Solutions Fund. Funding in the past to cities, to local jurisdictions, you're absolutely correct. It hasn't been enough. Over the past 5 years, it's been about $33.5 million. What we've identified is $132 million through the life of Measure H, so we quadrupled that amount. That amount is being divided into $65 million for local homeless services and housing programs, as well as $65 million for encampment resolutions to resolve the experience of people experiencing homelessness who are unhoused on your streets. And so we're looking forward to partnering with you guys and continuing that partnership so we can resolve some of these encampments within your communities. And then in terms of like working with the COG, or kind of maybe what it may feel like going through hoops, you guys are a government agency, we're government agencies, our COG partners, we're all partners. And so what we're trying to do also, it's not just about the funding, but it's about the partnership and the collaboration. And I gotta say, again, working with your team has been the best example of what collaboration looks like in conjunction with the COG, me, again, your team, to work out, pretty nice details, with nice sweet package of services, in addition to home key, but housing navigation, housing location at your access center, keeping that going. There's workforce development that we're funding. There's additional COG funding that, because of you guys, they're leveraging and maximizing from the state to bring in these dollars. So again, just want to thank you guys. There is more. We have heard you loud and clear because of the Blue Ribbon Commission. We do hear you loud and clear today, and we will do what we can to prioritize local preference for your projects.
While you're there, and you and Elizabeth, do you know if Home Key 3.0 requires local matching funds? And do you see the county and the city being able to partner for 3.0?
Well, we met today to talk about that. So there is a requirement for a local match. The state will fund up to a certain amount per door, and then the county and the state share in the rest of it. So we do think there's an opportunity to collaborate, and we're having conversations over the next few days because the deadline for Home Key 3 is coming up fast. And I think there's a pathway forward, and excited to continue the conversation with your staff.
That was my next question.
Okay, sorry, Mayor.
But no, I think Home Key 3.0, there's a really good opportunity there. We really want to push on it and make it something beneficial. As you said, you know, the Motel 6 is more of individuals. We're seeing a lot of need for families, and so that they don't get displaced. I know a lot of, especially with a lot of the tenant protections coming to an end or being already ended, it's really important that we start pushing for these initiatives and making sure that, you know, we continue to remain family friendly. So, you know, we want to make sure that we're able to work on that and see how far we can go. And since we're all up here, I'd like to see give direction to the city to make sure we write a letter of request of support to the county and let them know that, you know, we're all in on our own project. Is there any more comments, questions, concerns? If not, thank you for being here with us today. We truly appreciate it. I think we're excited to see the Motel 6 look nice and green. So thank you for that. So at this moment, I believe that is the end of our open business. So we are going to go ahead and recess to closed session.